What up, world? It is According to Hip Hop Live on a midday. What's going on, Coop? How you doing, sir?
What's going on? How are you, fam?
I'm great, man. We got a lot to get into today, man. We got a real lineup for people that
I
are
know.
coming in the room. We want people to come into the room. Man, we're gonna do a show Friday, man. I'm thinking about having people call in too. So, be on the lookout for that because I know there's a lot of things that we like to interact with people with on the chat. But to get some call-ins, man, that should be cool. But
Yeah,
today we're gonna
I'm
cover
ready.
the Certified Lover Boy review. We're gonna cover the Life of the Party, Kanye West featuring Andre 3000, the unreleased gem that seemingly Kanye was going to Drake, the whole Andre apology. We're gonna talk about this Memphis Bleek interview where he said that Nas doesn't have enough songs to compete with Jay-Z in the verses. We're gonna talk about Kendrick Lamar. If hip hop missed him, what am I missing, man? Verse of the year, and yeah, a host of things. Drake's overall status, man. But let's just get into it, man. What were some of your thoughts listening to Certified Lover Boy for the first time? And have any of your thoughts changed by being letting it digest for a few days, being able to let it digest for a few days? Excuse me.
No, I mean, Mike, you want to know what? Hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm. I got plenty of notes.
Me too, Mike.
Okay.
I told you he needed a win.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
He needed a win. And this is a win. No matter how safe it is, it's a win. And the main reason that it's a win is the production and the executive production.
It's a win album wise, yes. And he needed a win. I agree with that.
Win.
If we talk about, and we're going to get to this later on, if we talk about overall artist status, where this propels you to or, puts you at when we talk about overall great artists, I don't know if it's a win, but yeah, you're right. It's a win right now.
I mean, but he needed that
He
though. He
needed it.
hasn't had a win in a while. I mean, we're gonna be talking about Ye some too. Shout out to everybody paying tithes to the Church of Ye. But Ye just fired his engineer, and you goddamn right, he should have fired the engineer because, like I've been saying, the engineering on that album was abysmal, if even existent. And when you go listen to Certified Lover Boy just the following week, just from a production and executive production standpoint, 40, Mike, like 40 just did his thing. Me and Matt from the Yardies was talking about it. And
Hmm.
I was like, Matt, I was like, am I tripping? Or I was like, the Certified Lover Boy, like engineering wise, sound like Supreme. And he just kept on looking at me. He's like, Coop, he's like, that's 40. He's like, that's what
Well,
40 gonna do.
Well, this is the thing. When you got an artist who is like a flag, I don't even want to say a label
And
flagship
that's
artist.
and,
He's a
and that's about the
flagship for the whole industry. Your shit's
right.
gonna sound clean.
Right, but understand this is a big time music producer I'm having a conversation with to sharing these thoughts about 40. He's like, no, he's like, that's 40. I'm like, and me and him was joking. He was like, man, Ye need to fire his engineer. And so when Ye just fired his engineer, I gotta hit Matt up because me and Matt was literally joking about how Ye need to fire his engineer like 2, 3 days ago.
Well, you know what, engineering wise, and if you want to talk about production wise and just overall mixing, mastering, product, it reminds me of, like, let's just say, and maybe not to this level, but albums like the documentary about the game, right?
Not to that, but
You're
I get what
going
you're
to
saying.
get the best of the best when it comes to that because this is that supposed to be that kind of product. I don't think anything that Drake does is supposed to be raw in the way that Donda was supposed to come across, and like you said, a stadium approach. I think this is radio approach. We're talking about radio approach versus stadium approach, right?
Correct.
Are we talking about raw feelings or raw, I guess, vulnerability and trying to translate that sonically versus radio sonics and club sonics, lounge sonics? I think that, this Drake album was more of a lounge album for me, you know what I'm saying, when I heard it. Huh?
Clarify that thought
Well, I
for
mean,
me.
all right. To clarify that thought, I'm thinking the music that you listen to when you're out, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was saying that he thought the concept of the album cover was basically saying that he got a lot of sons out here in the industry, possibly. That's one way of looking at it, and
Good looking at it.
also just those billboards being in every city. It was like, okay, well, I'm coming through every town, and basically, I got sons in every town type thing, and this is a world tour, and so it's really largely based on the nightlife. I feel, and things that aren't based on the nightlife are very braggadocious.
So
But
let's
the more
go
that I
ahead.
listen to some of these songs, though, not to cut you off, like 7 a.m., and I'm glad, in a way, I'm kind of glad we didn't do the show Friday, because some of the songs that I was impressed by on Friday, I'm less impressed with on Wednesday. Not to date our show or anything.
No. I feel you.
Yeah.
Um, what are some of those records? Just
Well, the
break
7
down.
a.m. record was impressive to me at first, super impressive because, he's just going in. And it reminds me of what Jay was doing in the early 2000s with songs like Hovey Baby and What More Can I Say or whatever. It's like, you're talking your shit. And then I was listening to it today while I was riding a couple of hours ago. And I'm like, what is he really saying though? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a bunch of words. He's going in. He's saying that, okay, I'm this, I'm that, I've done this, I've done that.
You talking about 7
Accomplishment.
a.m. You talking about 7 a.m. on Bridal Path?
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
mean,
it's like,
Mike.
and then we
I mean,
start,
see that.
and
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I mean that's arguably the best song on this project, though.
Right, right. And that was one of the ones that I felt like was one of the better, if not the best song on the project when I first heard it. But now I'm actually listening to the bars outside of just listening to the approach, and I'm like, am I getting lines like, I'm so far ahead of my time, I'm about to start another life, look behind you, I'm about to pass you twice, you know?
Well, so what we need to do is also provide context again.
Okay.
Like, although this is an impressive mic performance by Drake, I never had him confused with Pusha or Conway
But
or
people
Nas
do. And
or
so
Kendrick.
I look,
Let's
yeah,
I think we can do a job about clarifying that some because,
right.
and you and I had this talk, even though we didn't do the show, we've still been talking pretty semi-frequently over the course of this time, Mike. And let's just go to No Friends in the Industry
My
and
favorite
7
song
a.m.
on there.
Right, and 7 a.m. on Bridal Path. Like, for
Okay.
me, I think those are the two best mic performances and arguably the two best songs on there.
What did you think
Okay,
about Champagne Poetry and Poppy's Home, mic performance wise?
hold on. Champagne Poetry,
Mm-hmm.
probably one of his most honest records ever. And it's almost a little misleading for the album because that reflective, introspective tone, the guy who's talking about how he's in therapy to start off this album, like that mature version of Drake really doesn't show itself on this project. He comes off more like a 25-year-old than a 35-year-old, quite frankly,
Yeah.
musically speaking, and from in what he's talking about rhetoric-wise. So, and you can take issue with that if you want to, because one thing that you can say about Ye's project, it's very grown man stuff that he's going on with him and that he's going through.
Right.
And there is a contrast to that. There's a contrast. Another friend of mine, Sharm, brought up about how he really didn't care for how an artist of Drake's stature chose to market this. He likes the way that Ye didn't really try to market the guest appearances and the features and hype it up. And he made a very valid point when he said that. He's like, that's Kanye, that's Drake. Like, you don't got to hype nothing up the product there.
I agree.
He was right.
Do you not feel like, even outside of the Billboard hype and all those things, do you not feel like Drake actually used Donda as marketing material too? Because we didn't get a release date on Certified Lover Boy until Donda actually was released. And you went to one of the events, the Donda events. At no point was Kanye calling Drake out or calling him to the carpet. Like, this seems to be like a one-way quote unquote feud that people are, I feel like Kanye's being used as marketing material for this effort, or was being used.
So I mean, me and the homie Sherm also had the convo about, are we all just being taken on one big ride by these dudes?
I think by one dude. I don't think this is. I mean, when you everything that Kanye's talking or has talked was, and we're gonna get into that record in a minute, was just personal stuff that wasn't let out. And the one song where he really kind of, just
See,
let it all go wasn't even supposed to be out.
Yeah, but Mike, but it's like I was saying the last time we did do a show. It's like I don't trust the guy that's talking the things that he's talking that just took $15 million either. So like he's not above that. No, just where that 15 mil at? So it's like he's not above doing like no. So it's like he does have a part to play in this because like nothing he's done has said that he's above that or beyond that. So who's to say he doesn't have a hand in it?
I just don't think his actions match. You know what I'm saying? I think that only one person seems to be benefiting from this. Like you said, he needed a win. When we first heard about Donda and these events, none of this talk was going on, and you saw the crowds out there. That was before any feud.
No, and you're right. Now here's the thing about it. Let's make a couple things clear. Like Drake needed a win, so did Kanye, and all that's what I'm saying. Like that, some of this is crazy. It's like no,
not in the same way though.
He needed a win too. Well, Drake's not the icon that Ye is, and a lot of that has to do with the music. Like he hasn't made the classics that have stuck to you in an internal way. Like Ye's made stuff that sticks to people's ribs. So how people gravitate to Ye is different, and he's earned that.
Yeah.
But that don't mean you need no win. I told you, Mike, he hadn't made anything great since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
But see, I think that where Kanye is as an artist and where he is with the fans, because clearly you saw the fans out there at the first listening event in Atlanta, Georgia. I think people are okay with the fact that, okay, we know we're not going to get the college dropout yet. It's kind of like Outkast, right? Like, we just want to hear and see Outkast because we know that it's a moment. We know we're not going to get Nakumana. We know we're not going to get any more stank on it. It's not going to happen. But see, Drake's in a different position. He's still in the prime of his career. His win that he needed this time is way different than Kanye. You know what I'm saying? Like Kanye just, again,
No, here's what I mean, and I'm going to keep going back to the first Ye event that he had that I was at. The dude next to me, Mike, for the entirety of the show, had his cell phone in his hand like this, recording every single moment.
Yeah.
Dude would not move. He would not budge. He looked like he was in a trance. Every time I turned and looked at fam, I was just like...
See, numbers don't equate a lot of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, and see what I tried to...
That's different, Mike, but that's also dangerous. That's what I keep trying to tell y'all. Like, that's
no.
dangerous.
I feel like all of these
entertainers don't matter at
entertainers...
that point when you got people like that.
I think all of these entertainers that are huge like that have a level of danger. There's a danger to Beyonce. There's a danger to Jay-Z. There's clearly a danger to Eminem. You know what I mean? But the thing is, it's like numbers don't always equate that. You know, I think people look at Jay-Z's stature in the game. And we're going to talk about him too because he's on both albums. K. Thompson, shout out to K. Thompson in the room. He said, been waiting on this review. Jay-Z hasn't sold nearly as many records as many of his contemporaries that sold a shitload of records, but his stature means something else for other reasons. He reached people. I don't know if Drake is in that arena because whenever you have to go reflect on numbers, don't nobody know how many albums Kanye sold for real. He has sold records, but no one ever talks about that. Whenever we talk about people like Drake or Eminem, record sales always become part of the conversation.
Hey, Mike, you're absolutely right. I've been listening to Ye from the jump, and I couldn't tell you what the record sales were for one of his projects. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
It never mattered.
It never mattered.
It never mattered.
Now, what did you think about, since we're talking about both artists, and, we're reviewing Certified Lover Boy by Drake, by the way, and we, had a couple of days to actually sit on it and really listen to it. I don't want to talk too much about Donda because we did that before, but I do want to talk about the fact that Jay-Z is on both projects. What did you think of Jay-Z's feature on, Certified Lover Boy? Because I think we'd be remiss to not speak about the features on there because I think the features are kind of the highlight of the record.
I would put the features. Like, I feel like we're going to get to the features. The production, 40 and the production and the executive production is still the standout.
You think that's the MVP? You think 40 is the MVP?
40 is the Mike.
Okay.
Like, nothing replaces like a good producer who also knows how to engineer. Like, there ain't no replacement for that.
What did you think about Jay-Z's feature on what's the name of the song? I got the track list here. Love All. I'm sorry.
You want to know what? And I'm not being shady at all when I say this. Do you remember when Jay actually signed Nas to Def Jam? Yeah. And he was actually like talking about Nas and putting Nas's project together. Do you remember what he said?
He said you can't sign an artist like this. You partner with them. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but he said something. I'm talking about that same conversation, but something else that he said during that conversation. He was like, we need to take Nas out and get Nas like on the scene and in the mix, hanging out at some parties, some clubs. He wanted to kind of get Nas out of that introverted space that he
I don't remember that. That's crazy. He said that?
Yeah, he said that. He was talking about like that's when you started seeing them go hang out together. That was something that Jay consciously said that like he wanted to do. He's like, no, I want to bring this nigga Nas out like to hang out.
I need to go look at that interview again. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that interview. By the way,
it might have been an actual article.
Okay.
I remember reading it somewhere, so it might have not been that same interview, but the same time frame.
Okay,
but that definitely got said. He's like, no, we need to get Nas out. All jokes aside, these two verses that I've heard from him on Donda, and especially this one on Certified Lover Boy, like, Mike, listen to me what I'm about to say. Nas need to take Jay out now, like, and get him out and put him on game about, like, what's going on right now. Like, for real. And I'm not joking when I say this because they have a relationship. He just sounds so out of touch. It's ridiculous. He's never been out of touch like this.
No.
And it's like, and real talk, when you listen to King's Disease 2, and I'm bringing up Nas because King's Disease 2 is the album of the year and recently released. Well, Nas ain't having those issues that Jay having about connecting and staying relevant right now. Now, is he?
I agree. And you know what? I know 444 for a lot of people. I'd be
saying these things.
I know 444 was, for a lot of people was fulfilling. But did 444 really have legs for real? Or was it an album of the moment? I don't really feel like let's just say if Jay-Z were putting together a greatest hits from the 2000s on, we're not even going to count the 90s. Is anything on 444 going to be on there?
Not a song.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll stick with what I've said before, and the Blueprint 3 is celebrating its 12th anniversary today. I feel like that's the last time that Jay made an album that had songs on it that matched the legacy that we know him by. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. No, I totally agree. The Blueprint 3 is the last time that he was like, where you saw peak versions of him still in existence.
Right. Empire State of Mind, DOA.
And it's not like a moment or two. Like, there are lots of moments. Like, Already Home.
Yeah.
To me, Already Home is one of his, like, that's one of those late great performances where he's like, no, that's greatest MC of all time type of stuff that late in career.
I like thank you too. I like
no, I don't like the beat the thank you, but him on thank you, that third verse, Mike. Yeah. No, that's what I mean. There's greatest MC of all time stuff on Blueprint 3.
Even if we talk about off that, where Drake got a hook but didn't get a verse.
I don't love that.
I don't love that song, but again,
Forever Younger, probably my least favorite one.
Versatility points, though. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't sound, where he just didn't fit. He sounded like
No, he's nice on there, Mike. Yeah. Venus versus Mars, As Real as It Gets. On to the next one. Like, there's...
Yeah.
Hey,
but see now though, and I've been hearing different things.
Flow. He took Ye's flow on Hate, and it actually worked.
Right. All right. Fast forward to now, right? I mean, I'm hearing some people saying they like the Donda verse better than the Love All verse. I'm hearing some people say the Love All verse over the Donda verse, or the Jail verse, excuse me. I didn't like
Mike,
either. I'm
Mike,
just gonna be honest. You know what I
we
mean? I
talking about
didn't
we talking about
like
we
either.
talking about a 3 and a 5. Who cares?
And I feel like
Three and a 5.
he sounded more comfortable on Love All, but I don't know what he's talking about on it. I don't know who he's talking
Like
about.
he sounds more comfortable because the production is better
Well,
on it.
yeah, and I think that anything that was on Donda, especially Jail, you got to catch that different. He's heard things like Love All before, and I think that's the other thing about Donda. And again, not to just keep talking about both albums, a lot of things on Donda we haven't heard before, man. Somebody on my Facebook page, man, like somebody I went to high school with, I think it was William Anderson. He saw some of the stuff that I was saying about Donda, and a lot of people don't agree with me a lot of times. Anyway, he was like, I don't normally agree with Mike's opinion on stuff, but I see what he means about Donda. He said the mixture of darkness, hip hop, soul, and gospel, I don't think we've heard before, or something
No,
he
we
said.
haven't.
And
No,
so
we
I
haven't.
could
That don't mean
see.
it's good.
No, no, I'm not saying
That don't
that.
mean
But
it's
what
good,
I'm
Joe.
saying is I could see how artists could sound better on other things because we've heard. I mean, they're used to approaching that more than they're used to approaching Jail. But I do think that if you want to talk about lyric concept, maybe his verse on Jail is better. But I just didn't understand where he was going on that Love All. Like, what's this whole thing with, like, who's hating on Jay right now? Like, who's he talking to? You talking to Dame or something? Like,
I don't
I was
know.
lost.
I don't know, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no, like, I don't know what's going on. Go hang out with Nas. Like, go hang out with Nas and Hit Boy.
You know
Like,
what
get
I
back into
feel
the
like?
crew. Do something.
You know what
Like,
I feel like?
these two verses, Mike, because, I mean, we're only talking about these two verses because it's Jay. These verses are not dope.
No, they're not. And he was not even one of the standouts of Donda in
Or
particular.
Certified
Or
Lover Boy.
Certified Lover Boy.
Because the standout guest appearance on Certified Lover Boy, both of those belong to Future.
Of course, Future's the MVP, man.
Future snapping.
So if
Future
we're talking,
snapping. Can we talk about Future?
yeah, we can. I was just gonna say, man. I mean, we're talking about an album in Donda though that has some possible verse of the year candidates in it. We got Jay Electronica on there, and if you want to include this Andre 3000, maybe Kanye's verse on the song with Jay Electronica, maybe the Baby's verse, and the fact that Jay-Z's not even hitting the radar, that's a problem, man. And on this album, to not do it again, it's like, yeah, you're getting. I don't know, man. Jay-Z needs to win right now. I mean, he doesn't need anything. He's Jay, but we're gonna get to that in a minute because I know Memphis just made a wild statement about the fact that Nas doesn't even compete with Jay when it comes to a versus. But we're gonna get to that in a minute. Let me go to the chat real quick. I'm gonna let you, talk about Future and the other features and stuff. But Taji says, been waiting on this one too, talking about our review. Okay, I like that.
You understand?
He said, okay album. I personally like the Donda album better. Just pulled up Pitchfork's review. They gave it a 6.6. That's a good transition. You know what? Pitchfork gave Certified Lover Boy a 6.6 and they gave King's Disease a 6.1. Do you think that there's any way that Certified Lover Boy is album of the year over King's Disease 2? I'll let you take that.
They just must want us to keep off digging off in their ass or something like that. Like, we're not having this conversation. First of all, Donda is some mid. Certified Lover Boy is some mid that was well produced. So we're gonna put it slightly above some mid.
Okay.
So giving both of these albums like 6-ish types of ratings might be appropriate out on the scale of 10, but King's Disease is a 10. And if it's not a 10, it's like 9.5 or above, depending on how you want to, like, if you want to get super critical and technical, you know what I'm saying? You could say it's like a 9.7, 9.8 or something like that. So not in the same stratosphere of albums, and it just speaks to the fact that they really don't know shit. You know, I really don't know how to say it. You don't know shit. Everybody over there at Pitchfork, you don't know shit. There's no way the Certified Lover Boy should be ranked higher than King's Disease 2, but there's no reason that King's Disease 2 should have gotten ranked that way to begin with. That's how we really realized y'all didn't know shit. And Peppa Pig, what Peppa Pig?
Yeah, Peppa Pig got 6.6, man. Peppa Pig got more than King's Disease 2 and Donda.
I know Peppa had bars like that, Mike.
Yeah.
She got bars? Peppa Pig got bars?
I haven't heard it, man. I don't know. I don't even understand why an album like Peppa Pig's even got rated. Let me ask
Who's
you.
responsible for distributing Pitchfork? Like who's the media company that distributes Pitchfork?
You know what? We're gonna have to dig into that.
Find that out.
I know the fans out there. They probably been digging in the ass since they seen all this, man.
Good.
Yeah, as they should. All right, let me go to K Thompson. He said, I think Drake needs to do what Wayne did. He needs to stop getting production. When Wayne stopped getting production from Manny, excuse me. I think Drake should leave 40 because, hold on. He said, I think Drake should leave 40 because everything sounds the same. Too monotone and bland. You know what? I'm with that. I don't think that the stuff that 40 did was bad or just the 40 collective because there was a lot of producers on here. I sent you the whole credits and everything. But yes, this album sounds very similar to things we've heard. It was executed well, but let me ask you this, man, and I'm going to get into my tirade about that. What do you rate this album on a scale from 1 to 5?
I mean, I can't give it more than a 3.5, Mike.
Okay.
I can't.
I'm with that.
And I'm kind of like, I'm kind of like you. The more I've listened, Mike, Future snapping on here. How many times have I said that? Like, I can't
Future's
even.
the MVP, man.
Like, first of all, the Right Said Fred sample, like, Way Too Sexy. Like that's probably like the highlight of the album. And then the video. Have you seen the video?
I've seen the video, yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic, Mike.
This is what I'll say, man. I think that
and In Too Deep, like Future's verse on, like Future ain't sounded like this in forever, Mike.
Well, I mean, Future just puts out a lot of stuff, but I feel you. He's dominating on this. This is the thing with Way Too Sexy. I feel like we pulled Drake off of that song. It's the same song, right?
Turn up.
I feel like if we pull Drake off of Way Too Sexy, it's the same song, right?
The shit the Future on Way Too Sexy, like you might be right, Mike. Like anybody could have rode that wave with Future. Yeah. Both of those songs, Mike, In Too Deep and Way Too Sexy, anybody could have rode those waves with Future. He was in a zone.
Yeah. And so Drake even Knife Talk.
I need to send him a Bentley or something like for those two records.
I was listening to Knife Talk earlier, right? And I was like,
Knife Talk, we about to go there next. That's the next guest appearance.
But see, 21, man, like the way 21 sounds over Metro, I just wanted to hear 21's part. Like I didn't even notice Drake. Like I feel like Drake got outshined by his features, and it's not always a bad thing. But see, my thing is, and I think we talked about this offline. It feels like there were more features on the album than it was because the actual featured people dominated the records. And I was telling you about Supreme Clientele, right? Ghostface Supreme Clientele, the sophomore album. It doesn't sound like the whole clan, with the exception of Old Dirty, who was locked up at the time. It doesn't sound like the whole clan was on there. It felt like he didn't have a lot of features, but he did. And so you can have features and not feel like you have a lot of features. It only feels like you have a lot of features when the features dominate you.
No, you're right. So Supreme Clientele, an example. I'm going to tell you another album that I actually listened to yesterday from beginning to end for the first time in a long time that you could say that about too, Mike, and that's Aquemini.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I was startled at how much the Dungeon family contributed to Aquemini, and you really don't feel it. It still succinctly feels like Big Boy and Andre Outkast record.
Yeah.
Like, without question, unequivocally. And so there is a nuance to how you do it. And so the fact that Drake did get outshined is another thing about how we need to contextualize his greatness. His greatness is in his hook writing and his hit-making ability. And his ability to craft a song. And those are talents and traits that are viable.
Did he show us that, though, on this album?
He showed us some of that, but what I would have to submit to you, sorry about that. What I would have to submit to you is that those qualities only take you but so far in terms of being in the greatest MC conversation. And so what I really want to point out is the fact that some of his highlights, his best moments on here, specifically, No Friends in the Industry and 7 a.m. Mike, Wayne does that on every single project that he drops. Like he has, like every Wayne project has about 2 or 3 songs where you hear a guy and you're like, yeah. And so he's not even Wayne.
So you must have seen the Trey Young tweet. Let me go to the Trey Young tweet.
I mean, I've seen it, but it ain't even about that. It's like people need to understand. It's like he's not even Wayne, and Wayne is kind of top 20-ish, top 25, and he's not Wayne.
For the people who didn't see it, Trey Young said, "Yo, when we gonna say Drake has passed Hov?" So you feel like people are just not even.
Saying. You haven't even passed Wayne. Like Hov's not a conversation for you. You're not past Wayne.
For someone who would say,
Mike, does he have any lyrical? Mike, just pick the 5 best records on the Carter 2, Mike, and show me where Drake has any lyrical performances like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you. And one thing that I will give Wayne points on, because like you said, and I was going to ask you, and it's funny, you answered this without me even asking. Part of my notes was I was going to ask you, what does Drake really do well? And I feel like hooks and hits. And honestly, his hits seem to be carried by other people on this one. But when you really look at it, we look at God's Plan, we look at Tootsie Slide, we look at Hotline Bling. A lot of his hits aren't even on some rap shit. And the hits that Wayne had, the Amillies, those are on some rapidy rap shit.
Hey, Mike, and I have to be honest with you, the last hit record that he really made to me that I thought was like a big smash, and it wasn't a rap record, Mike. It was Going Home. That was the last record he made to me that I thought was like a real actual hit record.
No, it wasn't a rap record at all. And I like that song.
That was
a
rap
long
record, yeah.
Bro, when you said that, when you said that, I had to think, man, that was a long time ago, nigga. That was like 2013.
Yes.
That's the last hit you think
Drake gonna stay? Because all these other things are flash in the pan hits. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And he's had a lot of help.
That long ago, wasn't it, Mike? Wasn't that like 2015, 2016 when he made Going Home?
You talking about that? Just so know we're going. Nah, that was like 13, man. That was a minute ago.
Yeah, Mike, that's the last time he was making hits like that. That's what I'm trying to say. Like he needed, like a lot of these dudes, they ain't made like the shit that you think in a while. Like these songs, like when you said Hotline Bling, and I was like, oh, was that really an actual hit, or was that just like
It was in a Super Bowl commercial, all that. Like it was big, man.
That shit is whack, Mike. Like so.
That shit was whack. Yo, speaking of Wayne, what did you think about the song with Wayne and Ross?
Beautiful. Like
you liked it?
It's one of the things that make this album. Yeah, Ross and Wayne are on there spitting. Drake, I mean, you are right about this. He's never going to be the standout, but it's like I never thought he was better than Ross. I never thought he was better than Wayne. I never thought he was even better than Future. How about that?
I got a lot of.
He was better than Future.
I think Future's a better hitmaker. I've been on record to say I think Future would beat him in a Verzuz.
Like by himself.
Yeah, Darnell Lee says 2013 was Going Home. Yes. Let me get to the comments real quick, and I want to get more into that song. Dag, we done had a whole bunch of comments, man. Sorry if we missed a couple. But no, Terminator says, salute Mike Coop, a.k.a. Eminem Lover. Matt Harmon says KD2 washes both Certified Lover Boy and Donda. Yes, I think everyone agrees. Yeah.
Like, how about this? KD2 album has better tracks. Like, KD2 is better than Donda and Certified Lover Boy put together. Like, you can put those albums together, and they're not as good as Kings as these two. So,
Taj says, Fair Trade, TSU, 7 a.m. on Bridal Path, F Fans, and The Remorse are the highlights for me. Wayne smoked him. Yeah, what are some of y'all favorite songs on the album? And
what do you think of Fountains? What do you think of the record Fountains? I thought that is potential second or third single.
Fountains.
Track 16.
Track 16. I mean, it was on some singing stuff, right?
Yeah. No. I didn't say that it was on some rap shit. I said
I'm gonna be perfect. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. I kind of skipped through some of the singy shit. I did, and so maybe that's where I, fall
Look
short
who
with
don't
the
like
album.
the happy shit now.
Yeah, I kind of skimmed through the singing shit. Yo, but what I will say about the song with Wayne and Ross, what's the name of that song? Let me get to it. It was oh, You Only Live Twice. That's it.
Yeah, so Mike,
It
I mean, you're
sounded
right
dated
about
to
this.
me. It sounded dated to me. It sounded like some 2003 Just Blaze shit. No, it wasn't even Just Blaze shit. It was some Heatmaker shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Respectful, Mike. It won't sound that dated.
it sounded very dated. I
You don't like
mean,
the record, is what you're saying? Or maybe I'm just excited to hear like Ross and Wayne and Drake. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe there's a little nostalgia to that because those guys were like together around each other and making a lot of hits. You know what I'm saying? Together. You know?
I mean, this is my thing. Maybe I'm saying this because I was hearing, certain media pundits, Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club, talking about Donda and saying certain things sounded dated. But you're telling me this doesn't sound dated?
Hold on, they said stuff on Donda sounded dated?
Yes, that was one of their criticisms.
Oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about. Like, that's not the issue with the album. The issue is that it's some mid, not that it's not, like, new and innovative. It's very new and innovative. It's just
Right.
mid.
And I'm like, well, okay, well, if that's dated, how is something like You Only Live Twice? I mean, that shit sound like some, like I said, man, like some 2003, 2004.
You want to know what, Mike? I'm going to give you that a little bit, but I still think Ross's and Wayne's performances, like sometimes when you got a heavy hitter, like it don't matter as much anymore. And to me, I took the heavy hitters over what you're talking about.
But people said that about when Rick Ross put out Big Time. You know what I'm saying? That song with Swiss Beats. What do y'all think in the chat? Like, what do y'all think of You Only Live Twice?
You want to know what? And I really like Big Time, but even when Big Time came out, I knew it wasn't going to have the staying power of like his prior hits.
Right.
Yeah.
So what were all the highlights for you? No friends in the industry. Let me get to the track list.
I mean, for me, I'm with fam too. I actually enjoyed TSU. So for me, the solo records, TSU, No Friends in the Industry, 7 a.m. on the Bridal Path. Those are his solo records on there that slapped to me. The other highlights of the album. Oh, and Champagne Poetry, the first song. The first song might be his best, intro. I haven't heard him talk like that, like in a long time. That actually sounds like the guy that first came out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He sounds like the guy that first came out.
You know what? And it's interesting you mentioned that. I believe him when he talks like that. And I think that's probably my biggest issue with Drake's music. I don't really believe him. And on this project, I don't really believe him.
I felt a little fooled a little bit because I wish I would have heard more of that talk on this record because the production was there for him to speak that way too.
Yeah, the production was there. I don't like his approach to a lot of the records.
I'm about to say, so he made it a choice to try to play it safe and make his hit records and get all his buddies together on the records. Like, it's very formulated.
K. Thompson says, Champagne Poetry, Pipe Down, 7 a.m. are the songs I'm putting on my playlist. Yeah, what songs are y'all putting on your playlist on here? Jeff June says, I agree, Mike. It sounded so dated. Darnell Lee says, how Drake said he has no friends in the industry and got everybody on his album? It's a good question.
Well, I mean, but Way Too Sexy, In Too Deep, and Knife Talk, I mean, those are probably would be the records that I'm going to play the most, Mike.
When I listen to albums, especially albums like this, because you always
because I'm not going to Drake for depth either. It's like and when I see Drake and Future together, Mike, I immediately want to hear some Jumpman. You know what I'm saying?
So definitely. Right. I mean, when the track came in on Way Too Sexy, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds different, man. But see, again, whenever Thug and Future are together, it's like that. I know people might have their feelings about how they feel, how they appreciate Thug's music or his contribution out here. But when him and Future get together, it's about to be a banger. They did that for Drake last year with the D4L song. Shit was hard. The only reason why that song didn't hit is because of the pandemic.
Nothing on this. That's what I'm telling you. Like, D4L don't want no smoke with Way Too Sexy.
No, I agree. It just sounds different, man.
Mike, from the moment the record come on and you already know like where they took it from too, and then you look at who he put on the record, you like, oh, this about to slap.
Oh yeah.
And it did. And it does. That's the highlight of the album. Future's the highlight of the album to me, Mike. His two performances.
Well, for people who listen to our show or who have been listening to our show, they know that I somewhat get biased when it comes to people using the 3-6 Mafia sample. And No Friends in the Industry is another one of those examples. When they hit them with that North Memphis, South Memphis, Westwood, Orange Mound. For the people who don't know, that was unreleased. Well, no, that was Underground 3-6, Volume 1. Niggas ain't barring that shit. So, yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh, yeah, this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, to me, that's the strongest song on there. And this is why I was going to ask you about, like, where is Drake strong? Because I feel like that's the only song we talk about hook, bars, everything that he actually carried. Because everything else, it feels like the features had a lot to do with it. Even the song with Lil Baby. Because people in the chat are talking about that too.
No, it's cool. I mean, like I said, it's not a disappointing album. It's not a brilliant piece of work. It's safe. It's formulaic. There are some big highlight moments. He's not a slouch on here, but he's not even Wayne either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like he's an above average MC, Mike. He is. How about that?
Okay. But see, then it's funny, man, because...
But he's not epic on the mic. Wayne is epic on the mic at times, and he's not even at that level. That's what I'm saying.
So y'all in the chat, y'all got Wayne over Drake too. I'm guessing. I'm asking.
Like, Mike, you remember Oh No off the Carter 2?
Mm-hmm.
Drake don't get... Nuh-uh.
No, there's a different level. That's a different level.
Shit from the back seat, champ. Yeah, I'm in the back seat, still with the seat backs, face back, stay from where the fake be. Yeah, no, he ain't got it like Wayne, man. No.
The Terminator says, y'all gonna review Common's new album this Friday. Of course we will. I can't wait. What about... What are your thoughts, Coop, on the new Common? All right. Well, you know what? On that note, we're gonna get to the next topic. I was gonna go to the Kanye Andre 3000 song, but I want to get into this Memphis Bleek thing, man.
I'm gonna start standing like Mike. When I hear some stupid shit, I'm just gonna start posing like I'm at the Rock Nation brunch.
Oh, not the Rock Nation brunch. All right. Well, that brings us to the next topic. Well, Memphis Bleek recently got on a podcast yesterday, and let me get this topic right. We're doing live TV right now. Let me go ahead and get this in the tagline right. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So Memphis got on a podcast yesterday, I think it was, and he was asked what he thought about Nas and Jay doing a Verzuz. This is what Memphis Bleek said.
Would you like to see a Jay-Z Nas Verzuz?
It's not. It's no comparison.
Why?
Because Nas don't have enough songs to compete. And there's no disrespect to him. He just don't. Like, he just don't. Jay can battle somebody with just his B-sides concert catalog. And it's still better than people A-side.
Who is Jay's equal then if you were to do a Verzuz?
Like I said, it would have to be somebody like Big. That was his only competition that I ever seen that he even felt was competition.
What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, and I've already said this, and people need to understand how history really works. First of all, Pop came out before Big and Nas, all right?
Mm-hmm.
That's who they looked up to. Nas has always looked at Big and Pac more like his contemporary competition, and that's because Jay came out a couple years after them.
Yeah.
So even the way that he's contextualizing this, it's like, no. Jay was trying to get up to the level that those three guys were on, and he didn't walk into the game on that level. So let's contextualize it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's rewriting history.
It's rewriting history when you framing it that way. And that's not to say that the dude that you finally hear in 1996 isn't of a caliber MC of those guys, because he is. But he wasn't there yet. And he's trying to frame it like this dude came in like Mike. Jay's hits ain't classic like Biggie's hits, and they're not timeless like it. He doesn't have Mike. Name the hit that Jay got that's fucking with One More Chance.
It's a good question, man. That's a good question. Does Jay have a Juicy?
Mike,
yeah.
Or Big Papa. Don't start talking that big shit.
I don't like the fact that he says Nas doesn't have enough songs. So Biggie has
He's
enough
in
songs?
position, like Mike, part of how he ended up in the position is because Big died.
Well, you know, some people would
You
say
wasn't like that. No, it wasn't like that when Big was here.
This is what
When
I
Big
will
was
say.
here, it was Nas,
I know
Pac,
I hear a lot of people say that often. And I will say this, and I'm never going to knock Jay's skill because I think that Jay's hard work and his skill level and his ability to put out records at such a rapid pace and give you hits in his era was ahead of most. But I will say this. When Big passed, Jay took that lane that Big was going in and ran with it.
Right. But
You know, you could hear a stark difference.
But that don't mean it's the same level. That's what I keep trying to tell people. Like,
I'm just saying he did benefit from that part of it. I do think that Jay, you know, would have found some way to do it. Jay's a hustler. He's great. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is that path that Biggie was going on life after death, Jay took that and kept going with it. You know what I'm saying? And that lane was wide open.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily per se.
No, it's just the reality.
Hold on, and let's get it straight. Big got that formula from Pac.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real.
It's
Jay, funny.
So you're not even taking Big's formula. Hold on, that's not even Big formula. That's really Pac shit.
Was it? Was it me and you talking about this? But I listened to Juicy. Now I don't know, man. I think I was listening to Juicy. It came on one of the old school stations or something. It was like birthdays was the worst days. I'm like, is that Pac?
Thursday.
Is that Pac?
That's what I'm trying to say.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but you never really listen to it like that. But when you hear the stuff back and you really, that's a Pac line. Respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Like the approach.
They looked up to Pac.
Of course.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, no, clearly.
Pac was big. Pac was on the TV screen, the movie screen, and the rap scene.
Oh, man, the chat's going crazy right now. I'm going to get to you guys' comments, but, you know, I do want to talk about this topic and where it was coming from.
But you want to know what? Hold on. I do want to say, you want to know what the most valid thing Bleek said is, and I'm going to tell you why.
What's that?
Jay's best records are his B-sides, not his hits. I keep telling you, a lot of his hits are just for the times and they're dated. His B-side shit is his bangers, Mike. Streets is watching. Imaginary Player.
I agree
Where
with
I'm From. Politics as Usual. Can I Live? Regrets. No, his B-sides is his A-level shit. His hits is not his A-level shit. That's why he can't fuck with Big. Right.
I think that's why, and, you know, we'll get up to the actual topic. I think that's why he would possibly lose to Nas. Because I think that he would feel the pressure.
B-side battle with Nas, fool.
Because I think he would feel the pressure to play his hits, and his hits aren't his best material. And Nas wouldn't feel the pressure to play his hits. Nas wouldn't feel the pressure to play his hits. Nas would play Made You Look. This is what we would expect from Nas. We would expect Made You Look from Nas.
Mike, he not playing Hate Me Now.
We don't want to hear Hate Me Now.
Right. Like, and he know it too. Like, that's why I brought up that whole Summer Jam thing where he like played You Owe Me on purpose and then cut it off on purpose and started laughing. Like, he know. Like, right. Mike, this is what I'm saying is like Jay's B-sides are his highlights. Like, Mike, Nas is the B-side artist.
He is. Nas could hit us with some unreleased stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or stuff that we've heard, people go crazy.
For Silent Murder.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that shit gonna be... Like, that's going to take some of his B-side shit out. Like, Mike, how about this? Is Silent Murder better than Streets is Watching?
To me, it is.
That's what I'm saying, Mike. Streets is Watching is a monster of a record. And that's some of Jay's best lyrical game.
I mean, let's keep it real. Let's keep it all the way above. Nas could play 7 songs from Illmatic and be fine. He could play 7 songs from Illmatic and be perfectly fine.
You already in the hole, and then Made You Look plays. You 8 in the hole.
But see,
we already know 8 records that he can play and fade anybody. So he got another 12 records out of 12 albums to choose from.
I don't like the fact that Memphis said Nas doesn't have enough songs. Being a New Yorker that Memphis is, that just seemed very delusional. You know what I'm saying? I get it, Jay's your guy, and it almost sounds like he's heard Jay say this, you know, because when he brought up Big and said Big is his only competition, that sound like that came straight out of Jay-Z's mouth.
Mike, what if he played like something like public service announcement, but then Nas, like, I don't know, dropped the verse from Live at the Barbecue of Verbal Intercourse. Good night.
Well, yeah, verbal intercourse would be very tough. I don't know if Live
Right.
at the Barbecue has aged as well to certain people, but I feel you. I mean, we know he killed it and all that, but yeah, I think verbal intercourse is,
Yeah,
that's
that's
something
what I'm
else.
saying. He is the B-side artist. Like,
Jay
he
would
was
have
not,
to pull the evils and stuff like that out. Like he would have to play the B side. And I do like how, like you said, Memphis brought that up. Like Jay got
no,
B
that's
sides
the
that,
accurate part.
yeah, that's what he needs to use.
No, those are his best records. I always told you, it's like Jay the Hitmaker to me. He's very, very timely. He's very good at working with people while they're hot. But his best records are always like Mike. The best record on Volume 2 when Volume 2 came out was really a week ago with Too Short.
The Terminator says, y'all sleeping on Jay. Y'all forgot about the pregame with Sauce Money, Reservoir Dogs. You know what? I mean,
No, we just
my
getting a whole bunch of
problems.
Jay records. I'm not forgetting them.
Listen, Jay got the catalog, and I think I'm still on record of saying that I feel like overall Jay may have the better catalog, even though I do feel like album for album, Nas has caught up with him. We proved that in a couple episodes back. If y'all want to go back and listen to that, because I was on Jay's side, but my man Coop pretty much, trumped me with all this Nas work. But I will say I think Jay's biggest problems is going to be the fact of picking the right records. And
not necessarily though, Mike. What I'm trying to say is that level that Jay is on when he's on those B-sides, like the Evils and Politics as Usual is probably the pinnacle of that, Jay, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, Dead Presidents 2 is my favorite Jay song.
No, but
yeah.
that guy, guy that you really hear on Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1, right?
Right.
Mike, that's not enough to beat Nas.
I think Jay would have to.
That ain't enough.
And when you
ain't hard to tell, Mike. Represent.
When
the
you
world's
listen,
yours. Life's a bitch. New York State of Mind. Memory Lane.
Look. If I'm
Nas
Jay's coach,
light.
let's just say,
like, enough.
Let's just say that you're Nas's coach in the corner, a trainer. We're talking about a boxing match here, right? And I'm in Jay's corner. I would prefer Jay stay around Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album, and select stuff from Volume 1. That's what I would advise if I'm in Jay's corner.
Here's how dangerous like Nas is to Jay's catalog. Like Imaginary Player might be my favorite Jay song. Jay can't play that against Nas. Nas gonna snatch him.
Yeah,
I
think so too. Yeah, I don't think that's strong enough.
It's not strong enough
in that matchup.
Right, and so you're right. Off Volume, I'm gonna tell you exactly the records on Volume 1 he could play. The first one, A Million and One Questions Rhyme No More, Streets is Watching, and Where I'm From. The rest of that shit is not gonna fire well.
The rest of it we got to throw out.
The rest of it you got to throw out. That's what I'm
saying. If we talk
saying.
about the Blueprint, shit, give me Takeover just for the setting.
No,
you know what I'm saying? You Don't Know. Give me Heart of the City. And everything else is kind of in discussions.
Mike, he could maybe get away with Lyrical Exercise.
Yeah. People are naming Nas is like Blazer 50. I know y'all in here battling in the chat right now.
Right.
K. Thompson says Jay will only play.
About Blazer 50, Mike. That's what I'm saying. He's a problem, Mike. It's a problem.
K. Thompson says Jay will only play his hits most likely. I think that the reason why my mind's been changed on this, and it's funny, we kind of been doing this podcast since the Verzuz have started, and a lot of the times, man, I've been wrong. And because I've been thinking that it was about hits. And so I think Jadakiss has shown us, and somebody in the chat said this when we posted that Memphis Bleek interview. Somebody said this could possibly look like the Fabulous and Jadakiss verses, with Jay-Z being Fabulous and Nas being Jadakiss. And I totally agree because Jada kept dragging Fab to the gritty shit. And if Nas is able to do that, Jay can't win that one.
No, and that's what I'm saying. But his hits ain't like that anyway. Like how about this? What Jada has, Nas literally has in spades.
No, that's real.
He got so many of those records to go to that he gonna make Jay playing those hit records. It's gonna look corny.
I agree.
He not like what you gonna play Big Pimpin' after Nas play Do Rags?
What are you playing from It Was Written?
What am I playing from It Was Written?
Uh-huh.
This is what I'm saying.
In a
You can go
Verzuz.
anywhere, Mike. In a Verzuz, what would I play off it was written?
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you already know where I'm going. Going to Silent Murder.
Okay.
Going to the setup.
Okay.
Going to Silent Murder in the setup.
All right. On I Am. What are you playing?
Ain't nobody fucking with Nas's stories except for Big. Like you
Is he gonna get enough time to get his stories out? You know what I would do? I'm sorry, man. I'm doing rewind.
I was about to say, Mike,
Because it's one verse.
I rewind down when you said that.
Yeah, I'm doing rewind.
Mike, and here's what I mean about.
I know I'm skipping albums.
You want to know something, Mike? You want to know something he could play right now in a Verzuz that would totally smash Jay, and Jay wouldn't be able to do nothing about it?
What's that?
Death Row East. That's what I'm talking about it being current, Mike. If he dropped Death Row East right now in the Verzuz, that shit would go ape shit. And Jay can't talk. Jay don't got nothing for Death Row East.
Like we said in the earlier show.
That shit slaps, Mike, too. It's the great story. It's riding and it's current and it's new.
Yeah.
He can go anywhere now. Mike.
Like I said earlier in the show, for people who are just getting in the room, the Blueprint 3 is celebrating its 12th anniversary today. I think that the Blueprint 3 is the last album that Jay would possibly have songs on it that he could use in a Verzuz. Am I wrong? I don't think.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think there's anything.
What he got for the stuff that Nas been doing the last couple years, like what he got for Death Row East. I had run-ins with Suge. Niggas would have been shook.
Lex P says Death Row East would set everyone down.
That's what I'm
Affirmative
saying.
action.
That's a sit your ass down record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Terminator says Undying Love better than Silent Murder. Yeah.
It's more intricately written than Silent Murder, not a better record.
The Terminator says Blueprint 3 was whack. Okay. All right. Well,
really?
I disagree with that, but this is what I will say.
I disagree with that highly. I think that's probably his. Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album.
Hold on. Where are you ranking Jay's albums? Because I think this is my opinion. Reasonable Doubt, the Blueprint, the Black Album.
For me, it's between the Blueprint 3 or Volume 1 or American Gangster.
Well, see, for me, I would go American Gangster Volume 2 before those.
Volume 2 so dated though, Mike. It just is.
It got hits on it, man. I
just like when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, this was my senior year of high school. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like my senior year of high school.
It's interesting though, but a lot of those albums that came out in '98 do kind of sound dated, man. And that's what makes Akumenai and It's Dark and Hell is Hot so special too. This is what I'll say, man, about the Blueprint 3. And I think I said this earlier in the show. I know we got a lot more people in the room now than we did earlier. But I think that the Blueprint 3 is the last time that we heard Jay-Z music that matches the person that we remember as the artist that he is. I don't think that he has records on Holy Grail or 444 that match the legacy of who Jay-Z is. I think when you talk about songs like Empire State of Mind, you talk about DOA, you talk about On to the Next One, Already Home, those are Jay-Z in that element. And yeah, I think that's a lot. And I can't forget Run This Town. I think it's the last time that he actually made big hit records.
It was the last time he was truly great too.
Yeah.
No. And so like for me personally, I like Volume 1 because some of my favorite Jay records are on Volume 1. We just ran them down. Imaginary Player, Streets is Watching, Friend or Foe 98, You Must Love Me, Where I'm From. Face Off with Sauce Money, the Biggie hook he took is on there. He took 2 Biggie hooks on there. The song was short, Real Niggas. Like that's Big's hook too. So I like Volume 1. It's just the singles on Volume 1's not banging. So for me,
the thing about Volume 1 is just crazy.
For me, when it comes to his catalog, it's like the Blueprint, the Black Album, and Reasonable Doubt clearly stand above the rest of the stuff in his catalog. To me, as pieces of work, his albums.
Volume 1 is just so all over the place for me. It's extreme highs and extreme lows. I know what girls like and shit like that. Like, he was clearly confused and trying to do something that he wasn't all the way ready for yet. I saw a question in here that I want to acknowledge. I think it was Kay Thompson. He said, where do we rank the Blueprint 2? And it's interesting. I'm a fan of the Blueprint 2. I don't think you are, right?
Because it's not good.
I think that the Blueprint 2 is one of the most important albums of his career. It kept him alive after Ether. I think he's rapping his ass off. I think that the biggest problem with the Blueprint 2 is it's a double album. I think personally, he's lyrically better on the Blueprint 2 than he is on the first Blueprint. The songs just aren't better.
So there's something to be made for song writing, song structure, song sequence, and that's the difference between the Blueprint and the Blueprint 2. You're right, Mike, on stuff like The Watcher 2 and Hovey Baby. I mean,
yeah, man. He's rapping his ass off, man. Like, he's hungry.
Yeah.
He's hungry on the song, The Blueprint 2, where he's coming at Nas. Like, can't y'all see that he's fake? The rap version of TD Jakes prophesizing on your CDs and tape.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines in the whole back and forth is that whole jungle line.
Like a garden to me.
Yeah, that's my favorite line on the whole beef. So, yeah, I mean, the Blueprint 2 just suffered from the fact that it was a double disc, number one, because Show 'Em How to Do This is one of the strongest Jay songs of that era.
Like, you really wanted to know what was happening?
What's that? Meet the Parents.
Nas had him leaning a little past 6, and it showed him how he put the album together.
Oh,
he was
definitely.
so concerned with trying to prove that he was still the best MC, and he just kind of skipped the album process. And like I've been trying to tell y'all from the jump, well, you were never a better MC than that guy anyway. And trying to prove it after you lost the battle didn't help you at all. And the album's not hot. It's very inconsistent. The production is shoddy. The hits aren't there, which is what he was really known for around that time. It's not a good album.
I will give you that the hits per se weren't there, but there are some. There's one game-changing song on there, and I feel like "Excuse Me, Miss" doesn't really get the props that it gets. It changed the whole wardrobe of hip hop at that time. The button-up era started from "Excuse Me, Miss."
Now, Mike, I'm gonna tell you what. I love "Excuse Me, Miss." That's the happy shit that I was always with. That's a great record.
I remember when I first heard the Blueprint 2, I was slightly disappointed. Again, it was a long double disc. That was one of those double discs that you knew didn't need to be a double disc. But when I heard "Excuse Me, Miss," I was like, I like this song. I didn't like that 03 Bonnie and Clyde. I thought that was corny. I didn't understand what Kanye actually did on there because they said he produced it, but it just sounded like they just rapped over the Tupac instrumental.
Terrible.
Yeah, and then I'm sure you loved the Prince rendition that Beyonce did on the record. So, I mean, yeah, I didn't like the singles, and I agree with you 100%. It didn't have, especially for a double disc, it didn't have the hits. And I think that, we listened to Jay and him talk. Clearly, Ready to Die was what he was reaching for. And that was a far, far cry from that. So, yeah, in that aspect, yes, it was a failure. And it's hard to really rank that album because I really like some of the songs, but it's kind of like, I guess we put it in the same tense as like a volume 1. Like, the ones you really like are incredible. Like, I think the You Don't Know remix with MOP was awesome.
No, Mike, that's one of the 5 or 6 records that I'm talking about on there that's great. Meet the Parents, You Don't Know remix, Excuse Me, Miss.
Some people hate it was hard.
The Watcher 2.
I didn't even like The Watcher 2 like that, but I feel you.
I just can't say no to Dr. Dre, Rakim, and Jay-Z. Like,
no,
you can't say no to that.
I don't, what I didn't like about that song was the fact that I liked the first Watcher, and I didn't like the fact that it was clear that Jay heard Rakim's verse and tried to outdo him. Like, you come in with a 24-bar verse, and, we give Dre his props, but that's where it stops. It's the Rock. Like, huh? Come on, man. I get the competitive nature, but at this point, it's like, why even have motherfuckers on your song if you're going to be like that? I liked Hovey Baby, and I like Some People Hate It, too.
I didn't like that.
That shit was hard. Yo, that nigga was snapping on there. That's one of those songs that years later, like, when you just let an album play, and then you're like, I used to skip this, but this nigga's going in on that. And yeah, I like Some People Hate It. You ready to talk about this Andre 3000 verse? Huh?
Yeah.
Hold up. You wasn't feeling the verse?
You see, I've been like ducking and dodging. I ain't said nothing about it.
All right, let's see. We're gonna switch subjects real quick. And yes, Kanye West and Andre 3000 unreleased song, "The Life of the Party." For For the people who don't know, it was supposed to be on Donda, I guess. According to Andre 3000, he said that Kanye reached out to him a week before the release of the song, and they put it together because, both of them have suffered the loss of their mothers. Andre in 2013, and Kanye West lost his mother, 2008 or so? And so they got together, put together this song that didn't make the album, and people are saying that Drake leaked it because it was a Drake diss record. Now let me start off here. Did you feel like it was a Drake diss record, or do you feel like Kanye was just spitting his shit?
I mean, Kanye can go on a rant and diss everybody, so who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Seems a little Drake-ish, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Seems like he might have been leaning a little bit in that direction. I can see him leaning in that direction, but Ye talking code a lot too, so he could be talking about a numerous number of people. But yeah.
What did you think about the song?
It's a good song. It's one of the better records. Should have made the album.
Do you think it fit the album?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he's trying to do with the album. That's why it's a mid.
I think it could have been a bonus.
That album is really more all over the place than people are really talking about. It's like,
I think it could have been a bonus. Do you think that Andre's verse on there? I mean, because everybody's ranting and raving about Andre's verse, because people rant and rave about most of the time Andre jumps on a track. Do you think it's a verse of the year candidate?
Yeah, it could be a candidate. I wouldn't put it up high. Like, it's not better than I wouldn't put it above Lauren's verse. I wouldn't put it above Gibbs' verse.
Freddie Gibbs' verse.
That and the Jay Electronica's verse, I probably put ahead of it slightly, maybe. So probably fourth or fifth right now.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Lauren got verse of the year right now. I listened to that verse again yesterday. That's the verse of the year, Mike.
I think so too. Because
Lauren's
the
verse
song is
on Nobody is the verse of the year.
I think the song is well put together too. And honestly, I don't want the fact that Andre being on the record overshadow the other MC. I think Kanye spit his best verse possibly of that whole session or any of the sessions that we heard.
His best verses aren't Kanye's best verses the verses that are next to the best verses on the album though.
It is.
The Jay Electronica record.
I don't know who's making who step up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it's the MC making Kanye step up or if it's the fact that, Kanye's making the MC step up. All right, I want to get to this apology that Andre put out so I can give some things some context. And I have some thoughts about the actual apology, and I have to read the apology to actually get that. So Andre reached out to Rolling Stone, they say, and he made a statement about the fact that this song was leaked and that, it was a Drake diss. Can we stop
for a second?
Go ahead.
Why did he reach out to Rolling Stone? That's the first thing I want to talk about.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why this wasn't just an individual post on his social media either. Some would say critics.
I'm sorry, like what has Rolling Stone contributed to the hip hop culture and community that Andre 3000 is using them as an outlet to air this out?
I don't understand it either. It kind of makes me feel like I don't know if he really wrote this, but hey, that
really pisses me off.
That's just my opinion. But let me get into the apology real quick. So Andre speaks out saying that Kanye put him on the diss song he had no intentions of being on. I don't know if that's what he said, but hey, whatever. Here it is. He said, a few weeks ago, Kanye reached out about me being a part of the Donda album. I was inspired by his idea to make a musical tribute to his mom. It felt appropriate to me to support the Donda concept by referencing my own mother, who passed away in 2013. We both share that loss. I thought it was a beautiful choice to make a clean album, but unfortunately, I didn't know that was the plan before I wrote the record, wrote and recorded my verse, It was clear to me that an edited clean format of the verse would not work without having the raw original also available. So sadly, I had to be omitted from the original album release. The track I received and wrote to didn't have a diss verse on it. We were hoping to make more of a focused offering for the Donda album, but I guess things happen like they're supposed to. It's unfortunate that it was released in the way and the two artists that I love are going back and forth. I wanted to be on Certified Lover Boy too. Did he? I'm sorry. I just want to work with people that inspire me. Hopefully, I can work with Kendrick on his album. I love to work with Lil Baby, Tyler, and Jay-Z. I respect them all. You know, after I read that again and read it out loud, I'm sorry. This is just me speaking. This ain't according to hip hop. This ain't whatever. I don't believe Andre 3000 wrote that. I don't believe Andre 3000 wants to work with Jay-Z. I think he's had plenty of opportunities to do that. I don't think that Andre 3000 wanted to be on Certified Lover Boy and for whatever reason wasn't able to be. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I don't understand how these are people that inspire you, but you're not inspired to work with Big Boy on any levels. I don't understand that. I don't understand how press releases are put out on your behalf and we never even get you to speak out when Big Boy is dropping an album. Those things really confuse me. And I don't think he owed anybody an apology, first of all.
He said, I just want to work with people who inspire me. Did he say that?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I hope he didn't write that, Mike.
I hope he didn't write that either. Maybe that's the fan in me hoping that he didn't write that. I don't believe he did.
Because the fan in me is about to roast his ass if he did write that. And I'm going to start with, and you already know where I'm starting.
Go for it.
Oh, you not inspired by being one half of the greatest rap group of all time, nigga? That's not inspirational enough for you?
I have something for
good
that.
Enough for you?
I have something for that.
Damn all that.
You know what I think?
Albums has Big Boy released?
Yeah, I know.
You know what Andre 3000 on any of Big Boy's solo projects?
No.
You're not inspired by your brother that you built a legacy with? That nobody has been able to come up and match? You talking about some inspiration? You want to know what the most inspirational record would probably be right now? An Outkast record.
I think he's afraid of that.
The hell? He better not have wrote this, Mike.
I think he runs from that. You know, when you see the people that he's worked with, from Frank Ocean, he's given a verse to Frank Ocean. He's given a verse to Travis Scott. He's given two. He was on the Kid Cudi album twice in the same album. He's given verses to T.I., to Rick Ross. He's given verses to Lil Wayne. I feel like, and maybe I'm making an excuse for him or something, but I feel like he's scared to get on a record with Big Boy because there's a standard with that. And
yes,
just like with this Kanye record, and anytime he gets on anything with people who clearly may not be in his league lyrically, he's always a standout. But when Big Boy's on a record, it don't even matter. You're standing up to Outkast stuff now. And the last verse that I remember him doing with Big Boy, and Lex P just put it in the chat, was Royal Flush. That was, over 10 years ago. Well over 10 years ago. That didn't make the album. That's fine. But to me, that's one of the best verses he put out since the disbanding. We'll go ahead and say it. The breakup of Outkast, because we're not going to get another Outkast album.
We can't even get an Outkast song.
We're not. But that was one of his best features, period. But again, that's because he understands the gravity when he gets on a record with Big Boy. And to me, I feel like, I know he's not one of those people that go around saying he's the greatest this, greatest that. But to make clear cop-outs like that, I can't be congratulated. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Mike, it's one of the few times it's like I really don't have the words, Mike. Like because the fan in me, we've had this conversation. Like for me, most of them, Nas and 3 Stacks, man, those have been my faves my whole life since I was a kid, Mike. I heard both of those guys around the same time, the same year when I was 13, and it's been that way ever since. So the fan in me is hard to separate that when he be talking this way. And it's like Big Boy sitting over here holding y'all down for so long, and it's
touring.
like why would you say this? And even if you didn't say it, why would you let this shit get out into the atmosphere? I just don't like, because it just, to me, it's just low-key disrespectful to Big Boy again.
It is. Darnell Lee, thank you for the clarification. He said Royal Flush was 2008. Man. Yes. Listen. You know what I didn't like too? And this is when all of this first started for me. And when I first start kind of seeing some of these things, Big Boy, you know how everybody does this. He made like an unauthorized remix or put a verse to the Frank Ocean song that Andre was on. Mm-hmm. And Andre, I mean, they say it was a statement from him. He made a statement that this isn't an official remix. Why? What? Why does that even need to be said? The only pass that I'm giving him, and I just said it, and maybe it applies to this too, is he's so scared of having to live up to Outkast standards that he doesn't want to be anywhere near Big Boy on the record. Because, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
That's not cool, though, Mike.
Oh, I agree.
That's not okay, because, Mike, it's not like there is such a depth of work, Mike. You know, I mean, it's just like they literally did just enough work together to qualify for everything. There's not a bunch of records. Mike, are there more than 75 records with Big Boy and Andre on them?
No, I don't think so. I mean, no, they were doing maybe about, let's say, an average of about 14 rap records per album. And we're talking 4 albums because the other ones were separated.
And so if you go put all the soundtrack and miscellaneous stuff together, you probably got about 70, 75 songs.
The Terminator says Big Boy is the better rapper. But you know what? I mean, for some people, that's a foreign concept. Obviously, Andre is an incrable lyricist, an incredible writer. But if we talk about a person who's been able to hold it down, and who could go out there and put out music.
Listen, Mike, if you've been a fan of rap the last 10, 15 years, you really ain't heard Andre rap like that. So yeah, Big Boy the better rapper. Where's there evidence that Andre is even an MC still consistent?
Like I've said on previous shows, y'all thought I was being disrespectful. There is no...
I thought you were being disrespectful, and you have proven yourself to be right.
There is no song that exists with Andre 3000 in 3 verses and just him. There's not any. And the only verses with 2 verses on them have Big Boy on them. And, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, I just hate that Big Boy can't go on with his career and do press and do media without people asking about something that's never going to happen. And see, Andre never has to answer for any of this stuff.
See, but this is what I mean. It's not like there's a whole bunch of records floating around. It's like you could get together with your brother and knock out a couple joints every 2 years for his project. That's not too much to ask for what they built together. And for whatever he feels musically about rap puts you where you are.
That's real.
And I get so tired of him specifically downing rap. Rap provided you everything you had, my nigga.
That's real. That's real. No, that's real. Because
so stop this whole I'm not inspired with rap. Rap gave you that $50 million.
You know what we saw in the when they got together for the 2014 anniversary, it was the 20th anniversary. When he tried to perform Coachella specifically, when he tried to perform some of that Love Below solo stuff, singing stuff, he wasn't comfortable doing that. It didn't translate well. That's what he was nervous about and went backstage and had conversations with Prince about because he was at the show. But when it came to the rap shit, the stuff that you say you're not inspired to do, it came like that. And the stage fright that he claims he has, I don't want to say that. The stage fright that he has, I'm not in anybody's head. I don't know what anybody has going on. It seems to be more so for the singing stuff that you're not comfortable doing live.
Hey, Mike, let's address the real reality and fact of the matter. Ain't nobody asking for the Love Below, but everybody's still asking for Outkast.
That's real shit.
Stop downing on the rap aspect of your career. It provided and afforded you everything. Your legendary status is not as a singer. your legendary status is as an MC.
It's not as a producer.
As one half of Outkast.
Yeah.
As an MC. Period. You made your weight in the game on some rap shit. You made your money on some rap shit.
Yeah.
You did that shit with this guy named Big Boy, the other half of Outkast. Show the appropriate respect, because this makes me feel like this is why Big Boy gets disrespected.
It is. It's exactly
why. This is
why.
the number one reason.
It's exactly why.
Because if your own partner will carry you this way, it puts everybody else in a position to, I ain't with the shits no more.
Yeah. And, you know, and again, even if you don't want to get in the studio or don't get in the studio for whatever reason, damn, you can't go out there and throw on a 16
bar verse to Big Boy?
Huh?
You can't mail in a 16 bar verse to Big Boy?
Well, you know, he's not inspired to do that. Are you inspired to actually put out a post to say, yo, man, check out this new Big Boy album? I mean, this has been happening, honestly, since Speakerboxx Love Below. I remember, and this is etched in my memory, I remember they were doing press for Speakerboxx Love Below. I think they were on Rap City or they were on some show. And, you know, the host was asking Big Boy, like, what you listening to right now? Big Boy's, I'm listening to Love Below. They asked Andre what he's listening to right now. Andre said, man, I'm listening to Johnny Cash. This is what it's been.
It's not okay.
I don't think it is at all. You know, and we always talk about supporting our friends and shit like that. It's like, it costs you nothing, Dre, to go out there and just say, yo, man, the big sleepover is on the way, which it is. Sleepy Brown and Big Boy have an album on the way.
Why can't he even pick his favorite record off the big sleepover or something and then go do a remix to it? Big Boy ain't gonna tell him no to that. Be like, hey, I really like what you did with such and such. You know, I want to jump.
You remember when it was a couple years ago when everything was going on with the NFL, everybody was supposedly, you know, boycotting the NFL until Jay-Z said it was okay again. And Big Boy did the halftime show in Atlanta because, you know, the Super Bowl's not going to come to Atlanta every fucking year. And Big Boy's catching flack from everybody. And you know who's the person that stood up for him and got dragged because of it? It's CeeLo. It took CeeLo to go out there and be like, yo, man, I'm riding with my nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother. Fuck what y'all saying. Dre says nothing.
Big Boy been holding this city down for a very long time.
And I know people who didn't grow up in the 90s don't get it. But
Yeah,
all that weird shit that Dre was doing only flew because Big Boy stood by him the whole time.
Right.
The blonde wigs and stuff only flew in the turbans.
We tolerated that shit about Big Boy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
People knew that Big Boy accepted it, so they were cool with it. The ski boots, the blonde wigs, the turbans. It flew because Big Boy stood next to it.
Yeah, no. Because everybody's like, Dre on some weird shit. Big Boy like, nah, he all right. Okay, Big Boy said he all right. He's all right. Let's go.
It's what it is, man. So, yeah. I don't know, man. I got a whole bunch of issue with the apology. First of all, I don't think the apology was even necessary. And B, it's just a lot of stuff in there just seemed like BS to me, man. Again, I mean, you know, a friend of mine told me, a friend of mine who used to do a lot of work at Stankonia back in the day, he was saying that Andre was supposed to be on Flip Flop Rocks. And it makes sense. And they had to last minute replace him with Killer Mike because Dre, you know, didn't want to be on it with Jay for whatever reason or didn't like the approach of it. And it makes sense because Jay-Z's saying that in the hook. Sounds like he thinks Andre's on the record.
Yeah.
So the fact that you say you want to work with Jay-Z, I don't believe that. I just can't believe that. That sounds like some PR person. And so now Jay-Z inspires you at this point in his career. We've talked about how Jay-Z's not even at the height of his powers at that, you know, to that degree. So what about right now inspires you about what Jay-Z's doing?
So let's go back. Remember when I made the comment about Wu-Tang and how I was going to put Wu-Tang above Outkast?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm talking about, Mike. Mike, you already know this. Whenever we get whatever Wu-Tang solo member drops the next album, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, ain't we getting a Wu-Tang posse cut?
But see, that's why I respect about That's what I
You already
respect
know,
about
Mike.
De La
Like,
Soul.
ain't Ghost working on Supreme Clientele 2? You know there's gonna be some Wu-Tang shit on
Yeah.
there. Ain't Ray working on Cuban League 3? You know there's gonna be some Wu-Tang shit on there. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Because they know that their people are still asking for it all these years later.
Well, at the end of the day, man, you got to respect the fans. And I know that was one of the gripes that you had with the Lauryn Hill verse, is when she kind of disregarded the fans and talking about her lateness. I do think that when you go, and I get it, being an artist, you're inspired by certain things, you want to constantly grow, but at the end of the day, you also have to respect your fans that put you here and what they want to see and what they want to hear.
The verse is epic. It's just very haughty and dismissive, that line. It just is. I'm out here saving souls and y'all complaining about my lateness. It's like, okay, hold on. And it's like, okay, so while you out here saving souls, no, while you out here saving souls, go tell your PR person that you're running behind and have them come out and, hey, y'all, Miss Hill's taking care of some personal matters, right? You know what I'm saying? It costs you nothing to send somebody to let people know that you're going to be late.
Geminis just shouldn't be in groups. I would never be in a rap group with a Gemini.
I mean, it's just like, no, the verse is the verse of the year. It's epic. I'm out here saving souls and y'all complain about my lateness. Well, your ass is always late. The complaints are valid. So don't make it seem like the complaints are not valid. And I'll tell you what, Mike Prince was out here doing all types of things in this community behind the scenes and wasn't late for shows.
Yeah,
so
no. Taj says De La Soul,
including coming to the assistance of one Miss Lauryn Hill one time.
Right. No, that's real. That happened too. Taj says De La Soul deserves their flowers. I agree. And De La Soul never broke up. One of the few groups in rap that I can think of that never broke up.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like De La and Tribe, like that was kind of like the bar that Outkast had reached. You know,
Tribe worked through breakups. Tribe made more music through breakups than Cass has being quote unquote together. Donnell Lee says Fat Joe or Ja Rule versus next show. I mean, do you want to talk about the Ja Rule and Fat Joe versus? Like, are you interested in that?
Taking Joey Crack.
You taking Joey Crack? Me too. I mean, but again, this is one of those street records versus radio records. I don't think it's as bad of a matchup as people may think it is on the surface. I think that Ja Rule's most notable songs might be slightly dated, and Fat Joe did a very good job. I mean, you know, clearly I think he said, LL Cool J's his favorite rapper. He's taken a page out of LL's book in his career to attach himself with the times. And I think that will help him. I think that will help him here.
But here's something that gets understated about Fat Joe. Fat Joe has a lot of hit records and street bangers. I told you, he got as many hits as Nas, if not more.
He got a lot of records. Yeah.
People sleeping. Sleeping.
Well, this takes us to our next subject, guys. Does hip-hop miss Kendrick Lamar? And this topic kind of came when I was listening to DJ Academics live, man, and he was going in. He was going in on Kendrick Lamar, and I mean, as a Drake fan. And regardless of who the source is, when people are spitting facts, I mean, you can't help but, you know, be like, you know what, that's not wrong. And one of the things that he said that really stuck to me, because he was talking about the break that Kendrick Lamar has taken, and we've discussed that on this show many a times. And so Kendrick's been missing for 4 years, and you come back on this Baby Kim verse, and you're talking about smoking on your top 5. Who's he talking about? That sounds like another Drake knock again, but as Academics said, Drake's been here putting out music, and Drake actually has been battle tested. Drake has actually, you know, demolished Meek Mill. I don't think his career has been the same since. And then he went back and jumped on Meek Mill's record and gave Meek Mill his first #1 record.
Pusha T.
He went back and forth with Pusha T. He may have lost that, but he actually jumped in the ring. We'll give him that.
Hold on, say that again. And here's the thing about Drake that I've always respected. It's like, oh no, he ain't never ran.
Yeah, he never ran. He didn't run from Common. And at that point in his career, he could have easily just ran from Common. Birdman stopped that.
Mike, he had no business getting into it like on a lyrical level with any of the 3 guys that we just mentioned.
And with that all being said, Academic brought up the whole fact that, Kendrick puts people's names in songs, but when it's time to actually, I guess, step outside of the subliminal lane, there's nothing. So it made me think, like, okay, with Kendrick missing in action and him saying things that he's saying about smoking on your top five, him being, because clearly he thinks he's the greatest and dominant in this era. Missing in 4 years, I don't think the game has missed him personally. I think hip hop's just fine right now, and the only person that is losing in this absence is Kendrick.
So it's not that the game doesn't necessarily miss Kendrick. It's that it's not really missing his era of music, because this era of music that's coming along in the last 4 or 5 years since he hasn't been recording has been better than his era. There's more competition. There's more diversity at the top, and there's just more top tier lyricists and MCs. And so he stands out still from his era, like a monolith of sorts, but he's not missed or revered the way prior greats have been, because the competition in the music haven't been there. It's like, Mike.
But he has kind of, to piggyback
Mike,
on that, he's dropped in very weak years.
No, and so we're going to get to that. But Mike, and here's something that I will give Jay. When Jay coming in the game in 96, he got Pac, Big, and Nas to contend with to make a name for himself. So when he made a name for himself that year, I always took note of it.
Yeah, not just Pac, Nas and Big, like, we're talking about life.
Outkast,
yeah, we're talking about life after death.
The Roots. There's talent everywhere in 96.
You're talking about ATLians. You're talking about Life After Death. I'm sorry, not Life After Death. You're talking about All Eyes on Me. You're talking about Machiavelli. You're talking about Iron Man. You're talking about Muddy Waters. You're talking about It Was Written.
Half-Life,
Yeah.
Riding Dirty.
Yeah. I mean,
this is a year. This is being the year before is the infamous, the Purple Tape.
What
the
dropped
Diary,
because Damn dropped in
crazy.
Damn dropped in 2017. What dropped in 2017?
I told you, Mike, nothing. I told you, Mike, the
444.
only year that he's dropped a project where another major artist made another dope-ass project was when he dropped Good Kid, Mad City, and Nas made Life is Good.
But nobody of his era was dropping seminal efforts. Like, he really ducked 2018. Because if Damn would have dropped in 2018, I think it would have been slightly different.
Mike, if his closest comp for a year he dropped the album is Life is Good.
Do you think, let me ask you something. I don't think I've asked you this before.
It's just good, Mike. I keep telling y'all Life is Good is not great. It's just really, really good.
Yeah, it's good. It kind of opened up the door to what we're seeing right now from Nas.
It was the start. It's the start of what we just saw come to fruition. Yeah.
Do you think that Damn is better than Daytona?
No.
Okay. I mean, do you think Damn is better than Victory Lap?
Yes.
Okay.
Not by much.
But again, some people may think different, and I don't think that Kendrick has dropped in competitive years.
Hold on, and if you enjoy Victory Lap more, I'm not going to knock you. It's just that Victory Lap doesn't have like a performance like element or feel lyrically on the mic, and so I'm going to give Kendrick the nod on that as the MC.
So people in the chat are bringing up stuff that dropped in 17. Said Chance the Rapper dropped in 17. I'm sorry. Chance the Rapper's a no-go. I'm sorry. Rodriguez said More Life came out in 2017. More Life was a flop. Drake doesn't even acknowledge it as an album. It's a playlist.
Y'all talking about Drake and Chance the Rapper versus Kendrick. Like, stop that. Y'all stop that.
K. Thompson says hip-hop doesn't miss Kendrick because the game is watered down now. I think that the game is a little bit more rounded. I think that Griselda is a big reason why we don't miss Kendrick like that either. And I think that those guys have shown us how you can make a massive amount of quality music in a short period of time. Now people are wondering, like Academic was saying, how long does it take you to put together an album for real? And when we finally hear this, it better sound like it was worth it.
And that's why Conway has proven himself to be a whole problem these last 2-3 years, specifically, Mike, because He's at the level that Kendrick is as an MC, and the output is ridiculous and high and quality.
And he got features everywhere too.
And expeditious with it. Oh, Mike, I mean, Mike, if not for Rick Ross, Conway was probably the best feature artist last year too.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, man, Conway killed that verse on that Flea Lord album.
Mike, I finally heard that. Like the joint Rock produced, yeah, he smashed that verse too. He out here smashing everything.
I mean, he's smashing everything from Flea Lord to Juicy J, man.
He the best MC in the game right now.
He is. And Kendrick's gonna have to do a lot to make me feel different than that at this point in the game. Because do you think that an isolated MC can flourish in today's game? Because today's game is about putting out massive amounts of music and, you know, kind of spreading yourself all over the place. Do you think an isolated MC can flourish in this game today like Rakim did in his era?
No, Mike, it doesn't necessarily work anymore. I'm gonna tell you what, some of the cats that I was plugged to the last time I was active, which was over 10 years ago now, they walked into the Yo. These are some cats that used to work with Bad Boy. Mike, they walked into the Yo 10 years ago, and I was in the Yo by myself, and they was like, Yo, Coop, they was like, you be in here working, like, by yourself? I'd be like, yeah, I put in work by myself all the time. And they was like, no, you can't do that. I was like, what? They was like, nah. They was like, you got to have everybody around and get the energy and the vibe. And they was like, nah, that isolation. They was like, the game don't work that way no more. That was them telling me that in 2009, 2010.
The people in the chat are disagreeing with us. Rodriguez says, Kendrick's content's fire, intellectual. Don says, them Griselda boys ain't on Kendrick's level. Stop that.
Yeah, no. Conway is. Yes, he is. Conway is on Kendrick's level. Don't get it twisted. Conway a whole problem. Matter of fact, I think Pusha T the only one that I even see coming right now where I'm like, who gonna give Conway some run right now before he starts separating himself?
You know what? To the people in the chat, were y'all really impressed by Kendrick's verse on Family Ties? Because I wasn't. And I know we've been talking about verse of the year candidates. Yeah, I know we've been talking about verse of the year candidates. I don't even think it's there, man. Like, in my opinion.
It's not a verse of the year candidate. No, it's not a verse of the year candidate.
Remy Shaw says Conway will smoke Kendrick on a track. I agree. Saying, you know what? This is the thing. We're never going to know because Kendrick doesn't work with anybody.
Whoever think that Conway not on Kendrick level, go listen to Jesus Crisis and then go tell me that. Like, no. Go listen to Jesus Crisis.
I was going to say just go listen to From a King to a God.
That guy, right now, how he has performed the last 2 years, he's on everybody's level except for like when Nas made Illmatic, Rakim made Follow the Leader, and Big made Life After Death. Like, that's where he at. Understand? Like, it's like that right now. Those are the only levels higher than how this dude's performing. He's having epic performances.
Kay Thompson says that Kim song's not a Kendrick song. Kim makes fun music. But okay, if we're not going to count that, then what are we counting?
You can count everything Conway doing. It don't matter. It's like you said, you can go Juicy J to Flea Lord. That's the thing that I'm saying. You're right. It don't matter.
What is Kendrick's last appearance on anything?
Wasn't he on Busta's album? He was on Busta's album.
That shit was old, man. That sounded like Kendrick Lamar with a fade.
I mean, I'm just asking. I'm just answering the question. You asked the question. Last year, me and Lee too.
That shit sound like Section 80 verse, man.
Wasn't that old?
That was in the vault, man.
A Butterfly, maybe. You know what? That might have been from like that little.
That wasn't even from To Pimp a Butterfly. No, that shit was before Good Kid, Mad City, man. No, that Busta verse, that shit's old. Let's keep it a buck. What's the last Kendrick verse?
He's never been a big guest appearance artist like that anyway, Mike. He's been insulated and isolated, and he's gotten away with it. That's what I'm saying. Is like the game has changed on him, and here's the thing: if he's going to continue to do what he's done, he's going to have to do it at the level that he's done it already. Like there is no he can't. I told you he can't drop something that's not at least on the level of Damn. It's not going to fly.
I was just saying that earlier. It has to be Damn or better.
Yes.
It has to be Damn or better.
And how about this, Mike? Do you think Damn is better than From a King to a God?
Off the top of my head, I would say yes. But I need to go back and listen to him again. I mean, because Phil is incredible.
So is Jesus Crisis. So is Juvenile Hell. So is Lemon.
It is.
Yeah.
I think that, all right, this is what I'll say. Off the top, I think that the MC work from Conway might be more impressive. But I think that the songs on Damn might slightly be better.
So I think the songs are better on Damn, but I think Conway's better as an MC on From a King to a God from beginning to end than Kendrick is on Damn from beginning to end.
But see, here's the catch. When you do a break
from
like this,
beginning to end, there is not a verse on From a King to a God where Conway is not in go gadget flow mode. Remember go gadget flow, Mike? Like
yeah.
Go gadget flow.
Don says, respectfully, I think y'all underrating Damn and Butterfly to Pimp a Butterfly is one of the best albums of this of the past 2 decades now, since we're in the new decade.
No, Mike, we're not underrating anything. Kendrick really hasn't dropped anything that hasn't been a classic or borderline classic.
Yeah, no, that's real. K. Thompson says,
we're not understating Damn, we're stating Conway and From a King to a God correctly. There's a difference.
I'm going to say something after I read this K. Thompson comment. He says, how come we criticize Kendrick for taking time to make conceptual albums, but Drake can put out microwave music and still get called the best right now? Well, I don't think Drake's the best right now.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm with you on the 3.5. I thought you was going to give the Drake album more than the 3.5. I think that the features carry Drake. I don't think that there's any growth in this Drake album. I think that this would have been a decent album for a 25-year-old Drake to make, but 35-year-old Drake, I think that, you know, it's good radio songs, but I think that his overall status does not move up any. If anything, it might go back some. And as far as Kendrick taking time, he's never taken this long. And I think what happens when you take longer, now the standards are higher, and it makes it even more difficult because the sounds have changed so much. You're either going to run the risk of sounding dated, because I don't really feel like Kendrick has what Kanye has, is the ability, because he's a producer, to basically change the course of where people are going. You know what I mean? Kendrick's sound is the sound of his own.
I think he is his skills are as such that I think he can dictate that pace a little bit more than you're giving him credit for. Mm-hmm. The songs that were listed that he said he was getting copywritten, I found the song titles to be very, very fascinating.
Oh yeah, let's get into that. Yeah. Kendrick Lamar has some song titles that were registered with ASCAP BMI. Some of the song titles are Fighter Thief in the Night, mm-hmm. Fade to Black, Erica Kane, End of the Line, Empty, Driving Down the Darkness, Before the Hangman's Noose.
So it sounds very biblical.
It sounds very dark, yes. Pale Horse Apocalypse. It sounds very
Revelations inspired is what I'm saying. And there are a lot of people that believe that we are living in the last days and times, and in the book of Revelations, I found those song titles to be very revelatory, and not like in terms of revealing something, but like as in the book of Revelations. And there has always been a spiritual overtone and undertone to some of Kendrick's music, and so definitely. I think that is about to be heightened on this project, and seeing those songs made me feel a little bit more confident in how he is structuring and sequencing this.
Okay.
And so and made me feel more confident, okay, he's still choosing to stay in his own lane. So he's not conforming, is what I saw when I saw those songs. I'm like, oh no, he's not conforming, he's still in his lane doing his shit. But he has to do it at the level that he's been doing it, Mike. That's what I'm saying. I think people think that we are like trying to shit on Kendrick, and I'm not. I'm saying the game has changed, and you used to be it.
You know, and this was just a few months ago, and I don't want to say a few months ago, it was last year, because we've been doing this podcast for over a year now. We celebrated our anniversary not too long ago, but I remember having a conversation with you. It might have been November or December, and I was trying to tell you, like, yo, he's not the best in the game right now because he ain't been in the game. And you were fighting me tooth and nail on that. And the fact that you're on that side now where it's like, yeah, he's not. I mean, I think people out here need to understand that. We're both not dumping on him because I was in that space too. But after a while, after time goes on, we can't disregard the work people are putting in and elevate the person that's not working.
So Mike, I mean, you know, Push is my favorite MC, and so I always preferred him to Kendrick anyway, just me personally, but I never had it confused. Kendrick's making superior projects.
Yeah, definitely.
But the moment that Push has made Daytona and then Conway from a king to a god, I just had to start looking at it. It's like, well, is he really better than Push?
Remy
Is he
Shaw
really better than
says,
Conway? And like I told you, it's like, he's not, I'm not saying, how about this? From the moment that he drops Mike, he's going to be a top 5 MC most likely. It's just understand that it used to be he's number 1 and it wasn't even questioned. And all I'm saying, there's some legitimate questions now. And I want to see how he deals with some legitimate competition from some legitimate high caliber MCs. Like Pusha T has already rhymed next to Kendrick on a track and went line for line with him.
And you know, and the result is debatable.
In my opinion, had the better verse on that song.
Exactly. Remy Shaw says.
So people need to stop acting like he can't be touched. Pusha already out-rapped him on Nostalgia when they were both in their prime. Before Pusha was making Daytona.
Yeah.
Pusha done made Daytona.
And
Conway
Pusha
done made From a King to a God.
Okay.
It's a conversation, and we gonna have the conversation. You ain't just gonna have J. Cole and Forest Hills Drive to be able to skirt past no more. No, it's heavier now.
It is heavier. Remy Shaw said it's a fact that we had a crazy year in 2020 and Kendrick stayed virally silent the whole entire time. So the anticipation for this album is a lot higher than his previous releases. I think that's a legitimate statement. It's the fact that, you know, when All Right was happening, the world was, you know, it was a lot of police brutality or whatnot. But 2020 was an epic, very different year. And to not hear from one of your major voices like that, it's like, okay, we want to know what your thoughts were on that year, the following year. It's, the pressure it's different.
Mike, how King's Disease 2 start off?
Yeah.
The pressure weigh a ton is getting too heavy.
This is going to, this is a big album for Kendrick, and I'm not trying to hype it up, but this is going to show a lot of things, you know, and clearly, let's keep it real. Keep it all the way real, fans. Let's keep it real. The music's not flowing like that. The music's not flowing like that right now.
Names written down right here, right now, Mike, and you can't tell me for certain that Kendrick is better than these guys right now because we haven't heard it. Conway, Nas, Benny, Gibbs, Thought, Pusha T. What has he done in the last 4 years that makes you say he's better than those guys I just named? Because I can give you those guys.
It ain't even no features. And the thing about it is he's in his prime, you know, and...
But no, Mike, what has he done to put himself ahead of those 6 guys in the last 4 years? Because saying he's still the best is discrediting what they've been doing the last 4 years.
Darnell Lee says Pusha T is coming out soon, and that is the truth. And I think that's one of those blind spots that even in this Kanye and Drake back and forth that people really aren't looking at. I know, not Conway. I know Consequence just put out a Drake diss record, but Pusha T has an album coming, and I think everyone needs to remember that. And, you know, for the people who are, I guess...
What has he done? No. All jokes aside, these 6 guys, Mike, go look at these 6 guys' work the last 4 years. These are the best MCs, Mike.
No, I agree. I see Lauren Hill in the chat. K. Thompson says, but why does time matter? We just said Lauren Hill arguably has the verse of the year, and she's been out the game for 20 plus years. We're not looking for a whole album from Lauren. Lauren's, let's keep it real, she's not in her prime. Kendrick's in the prime of his career.
Hold on. Part of the impact of why Lauren's verse is rhyme of the year is because Lauren never even rhymes and never really did after the score. So there's an impact that's felt from just hearing her rhyme.
No,
because she knew.
No,
it's the same. It's very comparable effect to like hearing Rakim on the intro to ELE2 last year. It's like that's the God.
Yeah, it is very comparable. I was thinking that too. I think that was one of the big pieces. Yeah, man.
And lyrically, Mike, I told you the last time Scene rapping regularly, top 5 MC. That was 1996, Mike. She was a top 5 MC in 1996. Hello.
Where do you think that Kendrick is all time right now for you?
He's still in the top 10, Mike. He just got guys that are literally right outside the top 10 that have been creeping up on him and are continuing to creep up and are dropping projects this year. So he can lose his spot. Because Conway Pusha ain't that far away. You seen what Kish just did, right? This shit is active, Mike. This shit live.
I'm sorry. I got currently.
We just clarified Nas is the GOAT. Like, it just took him 25 years to get to that.
Currently, I have Jadakiss above Kendrick.
I would have them right, like all these guys, like Conway, Pusha, Kiss, Kendrick, somewhere between 8 to 15. That's what I mean. It's active. It's live right now for him.
I think this is the most.
Hold on. Because when you stepped away 4 years ago, Conway and Pusha T weren't arguable top 10 all-time MCs or creeping up on that status. They are now. So you need to...
Listen.
You are who you say you are.
You know what? You know what I think the discrepancy is here, and I know a lot of Kendrick fans. You know, it's hard to really grasp it because he's put out such incredible albums, and when you talk about album for album, he's very tough to touch. And you talk about bar for bar, he's incredible in that too. But I think that we have entered the most active era of hip hop we've ever been in. You got people like Method Man who are active all the way down to, you got from 18 to 50 something and everything in between. MCs putting out active work. We've never seen that before. We have never seen that at this pace. And for somebody who's supposed to be in the prime of their lives, in the prime of their career, we hear nothing from for 4 years. That you can't sustain in that way. Like if Jay-Z stopped making albums at the Blueprint, right, and sat there and waited 4 years, your spot's taken.
Mike, I want you to understand something. In the last 400 days, Nas has dropped 2 albums, and those albums have about 30 songs on it between the two, and about 25 songs of those 30 are high quality.
Yeah.
That's somebody that literally came along decades before this guy that's still performing.
Yeah.
Like, he need to come perform.
Yeah.
And so
we don't have any features to lean on either.
That we're hating. It's like, no, like a dude who came out in 94 just dropped a great album the year before and a classic album. Benny, Conway, Gibbs are all in their late 30s. They're all older than Kendrick.
Yeah.
And performing at the same level and putting out a higher volume.
Even when you talk about Method Man's appearance on Lemon, right? Or when you talk about Black Thought's appearance on Plugs I Met.
Figure.
Whatever.
Crown for Kings. Yeah, pick
whatever.
Pick
What I'm saying? It's like, damn, you can't even give that?
That's what I'm saying, Mike. Like
something's going on.
In the last 4 years, Thought's released 2 full-length two EPs. And been getting busy on everybody else's shit still like you've been doing, and been doing the freestyles and all. Like, that's Thought.
What Kendrick say? Something in the water?
I'm just saying.
Listen, man, I hope he puts out a really good effort this time around because I do think a Kendrick album's coming soon. I don't know, man. I'm going back to these song titles. I don't know, man.
But here's what I'm saying.
Not feeling good things.
Here's why I bring up the Nas thing. Nas has taken time off like this before. He did.
In his prime?
See, that's the thing about it is that, like, I think the time off was between Life is Good and Nasir.
That's him past his prime, man. I'm sorry.
But no, what I'm saying is him taking that time off kind of gave him a second prime.
Okay. So you think that's where Kendrick is?
I mean, it's the closest analogy that I can think of. Nobody else is great as taking the time off except for Nas. And it's like, hey, I don't care what you think about, like, To Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City. Nas be getting passes because of Illmatic because it's the best rap album ever. And so it's like, it kind of goes a little understated. It's like, you don't got it like Nas got it even if you're taking this break.
I think that we live in a different time, and I think in the CD era, yeah, this would have been excused a little bit more. But let's
Yeah,
think about this. Let's think about this. We're talking about 4 years, right? Somebody was a freshman in high school when Damn came out. They're freshmen in college now. You got somebody who was in 5th grade when Damn came out. They're a freshman in high school now. Like, how old was your daughter when Damn came out?
you
know
just
what I
named
mean?
it, Mike. My daughter just started high school.
Yeah.
She was
So
fifth
it's
grade when
like
Damn came out.
so much has happened since then. Like so many artists.
So here's what I mean. How about this? My daughter knows who Kendrick is, but she really don't know who Kendrick is.
No. And it's
Right.
really tough to now you have to reintroduce yourself
She
to a
know
whole
Travis
new
Scott
hip
better
hop
than she know
audience.
Kendrick. You feel me?
What's
she know
that?
She know Trav better than she know Kendrick because Astro World came out while she was in middle school, and the kids, sicko mode and stargazing. I can remember when we were talking about. I was like, yeah, we about to start talking about Astro World. I was like, what you think? She was like, yeah, everybody at school is talking about it. I was like, stargazing. She looked at me. She was like, stargazing. I was like,
Kendrick
okay.
missed the opportunity not being on that album. And honestly, when we think about it, I don't think that his verse on Goosebumps is that great.
It's solid.
I don't think it's that great. It's not. It's
So,
not.
so Mike, so his rating to me, even though I find him to be a supreme level MC, it was really his ranking for me being so high was about how dope all these albums are because very few people can say they started off their career section at Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly. Damn. Oh no, that's hellified. So most of where he is about the quality of albums that he's released.
Exactly.
On top of the fact that he's a superior MC.
Exactly.
But he can be touched.
Donnell Lee says, I got a 9th grader and they don't care for K-Dot. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I got a 9th grader too, fam, and she don't really know who Kendrick is. She wasn't listening. She was 5 years old when Good Kid, Mad City came out.
Yeah, man. I mean, time flies, and consistency in your prime is very important.
Mike, hold on. Listen to this. My daughter knows more about Nas than she does about Kendrick because for the last 3-4 years, he's been more active. That's why she was able to give the breakdown that she was given because he's had material out. She knows who he is.
K. Thompson says Goosebumps is another fun lit song like Kim's was. He shouldn't be taking that seriously. Okay, well, it kind of shows that he might be a little bit one-dimensional then. The
last time I heard Kendrick really was on the Black Panther soundtrack. Not Black Panther. Yeah, like with 10 and all that.
The song with Future and shit.
Yeah,
that wasn't that impressive either. I didn't think.
But that was the last time I heard him.
Yeah, because he ain't really done a lot of features or anything either. I know that your screen is frozen. We're almost like 2 hours in, man. Great show. I know we're going to get on Friday, 7:30.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, we'll probably be taking calls too. We'll have the number up on the screen. And, I want to talk about some of the best albums of 2020 since 2021, since we're revisiting that conversation. And I know Baby Kim is dropping and Common's dropping his album. You want to talk about the Common album or what you want Friday's show to be like?
No. I was just being shady. We're going to talk about Com. Com's still a legend.
I think we should talk about Com. I think we should talk about his all-time status too because it seems like, people like that get caught up in the mix. And when we start talking about current folks like Drake and Kendrick, we don't talk about Common. Speaking of verses, Common went out there and said,
MC who slid the way that he has slid in the last 10 years. Because I think if you go back to around B, Finding Forever.
Hold on. Hang up real quick and call me back because I want to, see you in motion. You were frozen.
I got you. Hold on.
Uh-huh. Because, we're going to talk about Common. I want us to set up this properly because Common's another one. Hold on. Here we go. Got Coop back. Yeah, what were you saying about that? You said Common slid?
I think people forget that around the time that he made B and Finding Forever, we were having conversations about Common like a top 10 all-time MC.
I know I was. Yes.
No, that was a valid conversation, Mike. As a matter of fact, around that time, he was ahead of Black Thought.
Somebody says, did you talk about Memphis Bleek's comments on Nas and Jay? Yes, we did. You can rewind the rebroadcast. We're going to cut this up in sections. But Speaking of Memphis Bleek and his comments, Common actually got on Hot 97 and said that he would take on anybody in the Verzuz. And he got a lot of records, man. But you know what? To be perfectly honest, I think he would get smoked by a lot of people too.
That depends.
All right, you think that Common would beat Jadakiss in the Verzuz?
Didn't say that.
Okay.
Well, hold on. See, that's not really fair to put Kiss in. Kiss done put so much material out in the verses now between, you know what I'm saying? I know Kiss still got shit in the clip, but it's like, that's not fair. We'd have to pick somebody who hasn't gone yet. Thought would be the person that comes to mind first.
Ooh. You know what? I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
Common and Thought.
I like Common and Thought.
Yeah.
Do you who you think will win that? You think Common got that?
I think a lot of that depends on how you feel about the peak Roots records versus peak Common records. I find the peak Roots records to be better. Like stuff like Concerto of the Desperado, 100% Dundee, Push Up Your Lighter, the track, the Back and Forth Thought got with Q-Tip, the Ital off Illadelph, Adrenaline, you know, the joint with Common on When Things Fall Apart, Double Trouble with Most Def. Like Thought's got joints on his Roots album,
and he could pull out some freestyles.
No, for a verse or two, Thought going in and getting busy. Like Thought been disgusted on some of those records, Mike.
Yeah, but see what I think. Once again, not to pull Jadakiss out, I think that he could go out there and kind of do what Jada did and just pull some freestyles out. And it'd be shit that people ain't heard before, but the way he performs and his performance ability, I think that Common could be in trouble. I think Common's biggest issue is the fact that the records that people know him by aren't his best records. And we kind of talked about that with Jay-Z. I think a lot of the stuff that we really hold Common high for, people don't really know him for. I remember dating I remember dating a woman who was my age, maybe a year older than me. And she said she didn't know Common until B. I mean, there's a lot of people who feel that way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not really on Resurrection. They're not really on Can I Borrow a Dollar? One Day It'll All Make Sense. They know the light, but they don't really know, you know, like Water for Chocolate like that.
Yeah, like how about this? Like Mike, Invocation off of One Day It All Makes Sense. It's a brilliant record.
Yeah. No, One Day It All Makes Sense. It's full of
quotes. Hungry.
Yeah, Hungry's dope.
Hungry's dope.
Resurrection
Hungry
itself.
Probably his coming out party has like a supreme lyricist.
No, for real. So yeah, I think Black Thought would probably be his best matchup. I don't know where he was going with that whole, you know, anybody from his era. Because I will say this about Common: he's worked with No ID. He's worked with Dilla. He's worked with the Neptunes. He's worked with Kanye. And he's made really quality records with all these guys. And not a lot of people can say that.
It's just the style of records that's probably going to hurt him. That's why I was like, I prefer those, like, Thought's more confrontational and adversarial when he gets on the mic. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, definitely. I think Common's most slept-on record, to me, is The Sixth Sense. But I think if he were to pull out The Sixth Sense or 199 in a Verzuz, he's not going to get no reaction from this. Because people don't know him from this stuff.
Reaction. 199's a banger, Mike.
It is, but people don't know him like that, though.
You're talking about people not knowing the record.
Yeah.
See, that's why him and Thought would be a good battle, because I feel that way about a lot of Thought's joints too. It's like when I'm talking about 100% Dundee. Oh, Mike, you got to know that record to know how nice Thought is on there.
I think
73 keys of ivory and ebony. I swear solemnly that I'll forever rock steadily. People want to know where Malik. He right next to me, the weapon. Yeah, Mike. Like, people don't know that Thought.
But see, the thing is, man, I think, and I say this respectfully, I think that Black Thought's image is of a dope MC. I think Common's image is of a nice guy and an actor and a cipher. I think there are certain pockets of people who know more movies from Common than him as a rapper. So you know what? With that being said, and even though I think that this other person will win, I would rather see Ice Cube in Common, because I think there's a lot of people who don't remember either of them as rappers. You don't want to see Common get into that?
No.
You're shaking your head.
He ain't gonna win that. You can be Ice Cube. Stop that.
Okay. No, he
You
ain't beating Ice Cube.
don't
Who
wanna
is
do
he
that.
beating? Because you don't have him beating Black Thought. Who is Common beating in his class?
Oh, you think him and T.I. should go?
I think him and T.I. should go.
I think that's a fair fight.
I think that it's an interesting fight. I mean,
Mhm.
some would say those are two different styles, but I
It is.
think, yeah,
It's fascinating.
it is fascinating. I think that T.I. has more powerful songs as far as like sonically, but
He does. He has the hits.
he has the hits. I think T.I. would beat him, unfortunately. Do I think T.I. is a better lyricist than Common? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. Yeah.
Fascinating. That's
Yeah.
why I wanted, because I kind of have them in very comparable levels as MCs.
Yeah, Remy Shaw says, I got Black Thought. Love Common, though. Donnell says, Ice Cube would wash Common.
I believe that.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah,
Yeah.
can't wait to talk about the
With
new
that
album.
certificate hitting like Mike. I mean,
Yeah, Death Certificate's tough, man. What Common got for Good Day? Or what he
that's
got
what
for
I'm
Straight
saying.
Outta
Like the
Compton?
records on Beat and Finding Forever, like he got some joints in there. There's not enough aggression to his music, maybe for some of the guys that he would be put up against, like Cube, Thought. That's why I said Tip, but even Tip, you know.
I was gonna say Don just said Common versus Q-Tip.
Ooh,
I'm sorry, man. You know, I'm biased here, man. Q-Tip's my guy. I'm going with
Tribe
Q-Tip.
record's getting played though, so
Thing is, like Donnell Lee said, Q-Tip got too many hits, and then
but I'm saying,
he's a
what are you gonna
producer.
do when Q-Tip play that verse to award tour? What are you gonna do? It's one of the best rap verses ever. One of the best rap songs ever, Mike. It's one of the best beats ever, Mike.
I mean, because really, and I know you know, we argue about this all the time. That first Tribe album is damn near Q-Tip's solo album. So
hey, and you want to know what,
he
Mike?
played Bonita?
And Common really ain't. I mean, can I kick it? Bonita Applebum. I left my wallet in El Segundo. No, that's a problem.
Yeah. So, you know, yeah, I don't even think that's a good matchup for him personally. So, yeah, I think that's a problem that Common has. Like, Busta Rhymes has that problem, too. Like, there's really nobody to match him up with.
Right.
So,
stylistic issues and stuff, yeah.
All right, well, I look forward to the show on Friday. We're going to talk about Common's album. We're going to listen to Baby Kim's album, too. I know he got Kendrick on there. We've already heard that song, and he got Travis Scott on there. So it's definitely going to be something to talk about. And, yeah, man, we might just take some calls so people can kind of give their feedback on shit, too.
Oh, no, cool. Good to get back to work.
Yes, sir, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, man.